Get ready to relive the decade that changed how we played. Remember when a stick could transform into a mighty sword, a magical wand, or even a trusty horse? Back in the early 1970s, that's exactly how playtime worked for kids across America. Forget smartphones and video games. The great outdoors was our playground, and our imaginations were the only gadgets we needed. Picture this: neighborhoods alive with the sound of kids laughing and shouting, their feet pounding the pavement as they raced from yard to yard. The early 70s saw children spending a whopping 3 to 4 hours outside every single day. Can you believe that? It's a far cry from the measly hour kids spend outdoors today. So what did we do with all that time? We played classics like hopscotch, kick the can, and hide and seek. These weren't just games, they were social events. We'd gather in groups, argue over rules, and form alliances. It was kid politics at its finest, and we loved every minute of it. But the real magic happened when we started inventing our own fun. A pile of rocks became a fortress. A cardboard box transformed into a spaceship. And don't even get us started on the elaborate obstacle courses we'd create in our backyards. We were the masters of DIY entertainment, and we didn't need batteries or Wi-Fi to power our adventures. Remember building forts? We'd drag every blanket and pillow we could find into the backyard, creating secret hideouts that rivaled any treehouse. And bike rides? They weren't just transportation. They were epic quests to explore every nook and cranny of our neighborhoods. Now, you might be thinking, surely they must have gotten bored sometimes. But here's the thing, we didn't. All that unstructured play was doing wonders for us without us even realizing it. We were building social skills, boosting our creativity, and getting a hefty dose of exercise to boot. No wonder experts today are singing the praises of good old-fashioned outdoor play, but as the 70s rolled on, something was brewing on the horizon. A revolution that would change playtime forever. The first whispers of electronic entertainment were starting to circulate, and kids' ears were perking up. Who could have guessed that a simple blip on a screen was about to turn our play habits upside down? As we wrap up our trip down memory lane, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer creativity and social magic of pre-gadget play. We made our own fun, forged lasting friendships, and got our daily workout without even trying. It was a special time, full of scraped knees, dirty clothes, and endless possibilities. The year is 1975. While kids are still building forts in backyards, a quiet invasion is beginning in living rooms across America. A mysterious box appears, promising hours of entertainment with just 2 knobs and a TV screen. But how could something so simple change the very nature of play? Enter Pong, the game that started it all. Created by Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell, this little wonder began as a training exercise for engineer Al Alcorn. Who knew that bouncing a dot between 2 lines would captivate the nation? At first, people were skeptical. A video game? In my home? They'd say. It'll never catch on. Oh, how wrong they were. Picture this. You're sitting in front of your TV, gripping a small plastic box with 2 dials. Your mission? Keep that bouncing dot from getting past your paddle. Sounds easy, right? But trust us, once you started playing, hours would fly by. It was simple, sure, but it was addictive. And that simplicity? It was the key to Pong's success. Now, you might be wondering, how did this basic game lead to a revolution? Well, Pong wasn't just a game, it was a gateway. It showed us that our TVs could be more than just passive entertainment. Suddenly, we were interacting with our screens, competing against friends and family right in our living rooms. It was a whole new world of play. But Pong didn't stop at home consoles. It became a cultural phenomenon. You'd see it everywhere, in movies, on TV shows, even in your local pizza parlor. Kids would beg their parents for quarters just to get a few minutes with those hypnotic paddles. And parents? They were often just as hooked. As Pong's popularity exploded, something amazing happened. It paved the way for even more exciting developments in the world of electronic games. Remember the Atari 2600? That sleek black console with the wood grain panel? It was Pong's direct descendant, bringing a whole library of games into our homes. Space invaders, asteroids, adventure. They all owe a debt to those two simple paddles. But here's the kicker, the fact that'll make your jaw drop. Pong sold over 5 million units. Let that sink in. In a time when many households didn't even have color TVs, 5 million families brought this electronic wonder into their homes. It wasn't just a game anymore. It was a revolution. And you know what? Pong was just the beginning. Those beeps and boops were the first notes in a symphony of electronic entertainment that would define the late 70s and beyond. From handheld games to educational gadgets, a flood of electronic toys was about to wash over America's kids. But that's a story for another beat. While Pong was busy conquering living rooms, a silent revolution was brewing. What if we told you that the next big thing in gaming would fit in the palm of your hand? Brace yourself for a journey into the world of pocket-sized playtime that had kids of the late 70s absolutely hooked. Remember those bulky home consoles and computers? Well, they were about to get some serious competition. In 1977, Mattel dropped a game changer, quite literally. Enter Mattel Electronic Football, a handheld wonder that let you carry an entire gridiron in your pocket. Can you picture it? A tiny rectangular screen with blinking LED lights that somehow managed to simulate a full football game. It was like magic in your hands. The gameplay was simple but addictive. You controlled a little light, your running back, trying to dodge those pesky defender lights and score touchdowns. Sure, it wasn't exactly the NFL, but to us kids, it might as well have been the Super Bowl every time we played. And play we did, at home, on the bus, and yes, even sneaking in a game or two during class. Sorry, Mrs. Johnson. But football wasn't the only game in town. In 1978, Milton Bradley introduced us to Simon, and suddenly, we were all obsessed with repeating colorful light sequences. It wasn't just fun, it was a brain workout. Simon challenged our memory and coordination skills, all while beeping and booping its way into our hearts. Who knew learning could be so entertaining? These games weren't just toys. They were our first taste of personal technology. While our parents were still figuring out how to program the VCR, we were mastering complex game mechanics with just a few buttons. It was empowering, and it sparked a lifelong love affair with gadgets for many of us. But here's the real kicker. These pocket-sized marvels were doing more than just entertaining us. They were preparing us for a future where technology would be an everyday part of our lives. Think about it. Every time you swipe on your smartphone or tap out a quick text, you're using skills that started with those simple handheld games. The best part? These games made tech accessible to everyone. You didn't need a fancy computer or a TV to play. All you needed was a handful of batteries and a bit of free time. Suddenly, kids from all walks of life were bonding over high scores and gaming strategies. It was a digital revolution happening right in our pockets. As the 70s drew to a close, our playtime had changed forever. We'd gone from sticks and cardboard boxes to electronic marvels that fit in the palm of our hand. But you know what? This was just the beginning. Those blinking lights and simple sounds were laying the groundwork for the mobile gaming explosion we see today. Picture this. It's 1978, and you're holding a device that can speak to you, teach you to spell, and even play games. No, it's not a smartphone. It's the Speak and Spell, one of the coolest gadgets to hit playrooms across America. But here's the kicker. Some parents worried these high-tech toys might be doing more harm than good. Were they right to be concerned? The Speak and Spell wasn't just any old toy, it was a cutting-edge marvel that used speech synthesis technology to pronounce words. Can you imagine? A talking calculator that could challenge even the brainiest kids in your class. It had a keyboard with letters and numbers, letting you type in words and get instant feedback on your spelling. And let's not forget the fun, educational games that came with it. No wonder it became such a hit. But not everyone was thrilled about these newfangled gadgets. Some parents fretted that their kids might become too dependent on technology for learning. They worried that good old-fashioned spelling practice might go the way of the dodo. Little did they know, These concerns would pop up again and again as technology kept advancing. The speak and spell wasn't the only gadget changing our lives in the late 70s. Remember the Polaroid camera? Suddenly, we could take a picture and see it develop right before our eyes. No more waiting weeks for photos to come back from the drugstore. And how about those pocket radios? We could listen to our favorite tunes or catch up on news wherever we went. It was like having a tiny boombox in your pocket. These gadgets didn't just change how we played, they transformed our daily lives. Kids would gather around to watch Polaroid photos develop, turning picture-taking into a social event. And those pocket radios? They made long car rides bearable and gave us a taste of independence. We could tune into our own stations without bothering anyone else. But here's something wild to think about. The tech in that speak and spell? It laid the groundwork for the voice-activated devices we use today. That's right, Siri and Alexa owe a little thanks to this 70s learning toy. And those instant Polaroid photos? They were the precursors to the selfies we snap on our smartphones. As the 70s drew to a close, our relationship with technology had changed forever. We weren't just playing with toys anymore. We were interacting with personal, portable devices that could teach us, entertain us, and connect us to the world in new ways. It was the dawn of a new era, where gadgets weren't just for fun. They were becoming an essential part of our everyday lives. So, the next time you ask your smartphone to spell a tricky word or snap a quick photo, take a moment to appreciate how far we've come. Those 70s gadgets might seem quaint now, but they paved the way for the tech-filled world we live in today. Who knows what amazing inventions the future holds? One thing's for sure, it all started with a few beeps, boops, and flashes in the groovy decade of the 70s.